Alright, so today we're going to work on some word problems to help you guys connect slope-intercept form, standard form, and word problems. So this problem is about a field trip. The school paid for the students' tickets was $5, and that represents the X values, and the adult ticket was $10, and that represents the Y value. Now, they paid exactly $300, all right? So your equation is 5X plus 10y is equal to 300. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this in slope-intercept form. Now I need to subtract 5x from both sides. Okay, subtract 5x from here and move it over here. So that's going to give me 10y is equal to negative 5x plus 300, okay? And then I'm going to take each term and divide it by 10 because I have to isolate, okay? And so my equation is going to be y equals negative 5 over 10, which can be reduced to negative 1/2 or 0.5 x plus, and 300 divided by 10 is 30, okay? So that's the equation in slope-intercept form, right? Now, let's talk about what this means. So let's say that your table is, this is your table, right? Let's say x is 0, okay? So if we plug in 0 here, it would be 5 times 0, right? So essentially, your 5x, okay, is going to go away, okay? So if I make this, I'm doing 5 times 0, right? That's going to go away. So it's just going to be 10y equals 300, right? So if 10y equals 300, that means I'm dividing by 10 on both sides, okay? So that means that y value is 30. Here. Okay, so we're going to do, this should be 5 times 10. So 5 times 10, right? Plus 10y, okay? And that's because the x is 10 here, right? So 5 times 10 is 50 plus 10y equals 300, okay? Now, what can I add to 50 to get 300? 250, okay? So when you subtract 50 from both sides, you get 10y equals 250, and then you divide by 10 on both sides, and then we get 25. Okay, all right. So far, this is going up by 10, and this went down by 5. Okay, so let's try 20. All right, so I'm going to do 20. So this is 5 times 20, so that's 100 plus 10y equals 300. I'm going to subtract 100 from both sides, and then I get 200. So 10y equals 200, okay? And then I'm going to divide by 10 on both sides, and so I get 20. All right, and so we should notice, right, like some consistency here. This is going up by 10, by 10, by 10, by 10. So that means this is going to be changing at the same rate, okay? So that means this is going to be 15, and then this is going to be 10, okay? So let's talk about what this means. So like, let's say for your field trip, right, you have 0 students going, 30 adults can go, okay? Remember, the X is the students, the Y is the adults. If you have 10 students go, then 25 adults can go. If you have 20 students go, then 20 adults can go. If you have 30 students go, 15 adults can go. If you have 40 students go, 10 adults can go, okay? Now, like for a field trip, some of these are unreasonable, right? Like 0, 30. Like if it's a field trip, why would no kids go, okay? Another thing that would be unreasonable is to have a field trip and 0 adults come, okay? And so, so when you're looking at these points and stuff, they mean something. So let's go ahead and, okay, so we know the y, and let's look at this on Desmos. So I typed in 5x plus 10y equals 300. And then, okay, we said x is 10, y is 25. X is 10, y. X is 10, y is 25. X is 20, you know, what's that? 2020, okay? So forth and so on. But also, so like this here, so 60, 0 is the x-intercept, okay? So that means 60 students can go and no adults. Okay, that's going to be my x-intercept. Okay, so parentheses around that. And then my y-intercept is that no students go, right? So that means 30 adults go. Okay, and again, this is not reasonable, right? Neither one of these intercepts are reasonable in the context of this problem. I also think it's unreasonable because, like, why would 10 students go into 25 adults? Like, that's just not a good use of funds, okay, for students. So you also need to graph it. I'm not going to graph all of this, but you got 0, 30, okay? So 0 for your x, and then you go up 30 for y, okay? And then you got 10, you know, like 25, so then that would be like in the middle. So forth and so on, okay? All the way down until you get to, I think the 60 right here, okay? So it says, give 3 reasonable combinations of students and adults on the field trip, okay? So I think 40-10, like 40 kids going and 10 chaperones is reasonable, okay? What about, like, let's say we increase this by 10 more. So if 50 kids went, then that would be how many chaperones? It would be 5. Okay, you know, like, is that reasonable? First of all, let me check. 50, yep, and then this would be 5. Yep, okay, that's like reasonable. What else would be reasonable? Let's see. So 41. Okay, so like if 40 went, right, that would be 10, right? 41, that would be like 9.5 adults going. That doesn't make any sense. But if 42 adults went, 42 kids went, then 9 adults could go. Like, that could work. So it seems like the odd numbers don't work, but the even numbers do. Okay? So all of these are different scenarios that would work. 44 students, 8 adults. Okay, not 45 because 7 half of an adult wear, right? But 46, right? And then 7 adults. So just pick 3 of those, all right? And then how I type this in, I just typed in slope-intercept form. And then make sure that this says x. If this says x1, you put x1. If this says x sub 2, okay, then this needs to also be x sub 2, okay? Okay, so our friend is making jewelry. She has beads, bracelets require beads. Bracelets require this many beads, and necklaces require this many beads. And so all we have here is the equation that's in slope-intercept form, okay? So looking at this, I can see that total she has 450 beads. And that for the bracelets, right, like that's going to be 15 beads, and necklaces require 60. And that makes sense because, you know, necklaces take up more, have a bigger circumference than bracelets, so you're going to need more beads, all right? So that part makes sense. So to change this into slope-intercept form, I have to subtract 15x from both sides, okay? And then when I do that, that's moving it over, all right? So then I get 60y, almost 60y is equal to negative 15x plus 450. Then I have to take each term and divide it by 60, all right? And so when I do that, like y divided by 60y divided by 60 is going to give me y, right? Now this is going to give me negative 15 over 60, okay? And negative 15 over 60 reduces to negative 1/4. All right, X. And then if you do 450 and divide that by 60, you get 7.5. All right. All right. So this is my equation in slope-intercept form. Now, you should be able to fill out the rest using what? Desmos. So we already got our handy dandy equation. Okay. So I'm gonna erase this and get a table going. And so here I'm going to type negative 1 over 4x, not just any x, right? This x, so x sub 1 plus 7.5. All right, so a couple things. So this is in slope-intercept form. So we know negative 1/4 is the slope and 7.5 is going to be the y-intercept, okay? So we know the y-intercept is 7.5. We can also tell that by plugging in 0 here, right? And then we can also tell that by looking at the graph, right? And then also by looking at the graph, I can see that the x-intercept is 30, 0, okay? So here, I'm going to put 30, 0. And then here, I'm going to put 0, 7.5. All right? All right, so what this means is if I can make 30 bracelets, okay? Because 30 times 15 would give me that 450, but that means I'm making no necklaces. Or I can make 7.5 necklaces, which means I could really just make 7, right? Because who's making half of a necklace? But that means I'm not making any bracelets, okay? So that's what these intercepts mean. So how many bracelets can she make if she makes 0 necklaces? So that is going to be 30, okay? All right. So now, I'm going to look at Desmos to help me with this. So I'm looking for 1. So when x is 1, y is 26. When x is 2, when x is 2, y is 22. Okay, so let me say x is 1, y is 26. Okay. Okay. And then when x is 2, when y is 2, x is 22, okay? So now this is a consistent rate of change, right? It's going up by 1, by 1, by 1, by 1. That means we're going to have a consistent rate of change over here. So this is going down by 4. So I predict that the next one is going to be 18, okay? So let's see. Let's look for 3. Yep, okay. So now I feel confident, like I can fill all of this in, okay? So just keep going down by 4 and then down by 4, okay? And then you just have to plot these points over here. And so like, let's talk about what these points mean. So if you make 26 bracelets, you can make 1 necklace. If you make 22 bracelets, you can make 2 necklaces. If you make 18 bracelets, you can make 3 necklaces, okay? So that is it. So make sure y'all fill this out. Remember, this is going down by 4s. And then go ahead and plot these points to the best of your capability. You can let Desmos kind of guide you, okay? Because you can kind of see where the y-intercept is supposed to be at 7.5 and the x-intercept here and some points in between, okay? So that's it. So you can go ahead and go on quizzes. The link is on the board, and it's in Canvas. And then that's it. If you finish with your quizzes, then you can work on the other 422 sub quizzes if you haven't done that one yet. That one's in the grade book, and a lot of people have 0s for that. And then you can also work on your test corrections, which you're doing on Monday. So I hope y'all have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all on Monday.